Good news everywhere in the Apex Legends esports world. TSM has recovered after yesterday's video. We talked about how he's struggling, and it seems like TSM in general struggling, and what in the world did they do to fix things? Well, also not only good results from TSM, but Cloud9 stepping back into the world of ALGS. We love to see organizations come back. Now we've had Cloud9, SSG, Navi. We just need NRG and G2 to come around, maybe even some others, and then we will be really set, man. But I'm telling you, this game in esport really seems to be back. Also, we've got to talk about FaZe Clan, because what in the world is happening with that roster and that organization as well? We've got some hot takes here in today's video, and including some exposure of cheaters in this scene. So if you guys want to stay up to date, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into the world of ALGS. First off, wanted to mention, of course, in yesterday's video, you guys saw it was not usual to see Imperial House struggling, and what looks like mentally, especially with the confidence of his squad or maybe even himself. And he tweeted out after a really bad performance and saying, maybe it's me. This was not the normal Hal that we saw, but of course they went back to the kitchen and cooked some things up, and TSM finished their scrims last night in first place, which was really good to see, considering this is the finals, regional final scrim sets. This is not just group A and group B and whatever. These are all 20 teams that are going to be playing in the actual finals themselves, regional finals this weekend. So this is what you're going to be seeing, is a good representation of the teams that you'll be playing, the drop spots that it'll have, and everything that you're going to be looking forward to this weekend is right here. So for TSM to get first, this is a great sign of life for them, and all they really need to do is do decent so that they can qualify for LAN. They're pretty much almost clinched, so if they just don't bottom out at 20th place, they should be just fine and dandy. But really good to see them bounce back after what seemed to have been a lot of time of struggle. Now we need to talk about the team that is struggling probably worse than almost any other team. That is FaZe Clan. Someone brought to the competitive Apex Reddit thread really good attention that FaZe should drop their roster and pick up Legacy. I am all about this decision, and although I love Snipe Down, I love Zera, I love Panders, I love the FaZe roster of individuals, I don't think, and I don't think anybody thinks, that they are actually going to be successful. They've had plenty of time, ample amount of time to prove themselves. They've not done so, and they've not even outperformed some of these other teams that are not signed whatsoever. You cannot have FaZe Clan at least support this roster any further. They need to be dropped, unfortunately, and like I said, I love those guys, best wishes to them, but Legacy is showing their worth quite a bit more than a lot of these other teams that have really good organizations behind them. And I do think that the LG Shivas boys need to be picked up, and I really hope that you will see that happen. FaZe obviously have to make a decision pretty soon, because you're not going to see this FaZe roster at LAN for sure. You will see some unsigned rosters go into LAN. Will we see any switch go around? Not sure, but like one Tobias says, FaZe is getting dropped, no doubt about it. I think we all can agree. Currently, at the time of making this video, whoopsie, don't move that one, we've got FaZe in near dead last place at 25th. Like, it is really bad. So they're also in the bottom 8 under this line threshold here, so just literally the worst case scenario for them. And if you take a look at Legacy, they're in number 7, and they're the only team in the top 12 that is actually not signed here for North America. So it would be an absolute no-brainer for FaZe to pick up a team like Legacy, and I would love to see it. Now we've got to talk about the new team around the block. You may see 12th place Cloud9. What the heck happened? Yes, baby, absolutely got some banger news last night. Cloud9 has decided to join back into the ALGS after a couple of years of having them go, and we've seen the old days with Albert Lele, Zach Mazer, all that old C9 roster with Noct and co. It was just such a good time of esports, and even back in the day, they were really one of the best teams. And it was like the second place, I think, at the World Championship. And when Kungarna won, everybody thought C9 was going to win that day, and it just didn't happen. And if you've watched Apex Esports for that long, you'll remember a time when TSM was not the dominant force in the scene. And although they were a good force in the scene and they were really up there, it was really Cloud9 a lot of the time. So really nice to see, and I hate that that roster ended up breaking up. But now we've got Cloud9 coming back into the scene and signing a guy that was once on the roster. Stay naughty. So yes, GKS was the roster that got signed by Cloud9. Cloud9 is back just from ApexGlobalSeries.com if you guys want to go see the full story, but it's going to be Stay Naughty, Chaotic Much, and Sorcerer, which we already do, right? This is the GKS roster, but their head coach is going to be Shiny, and their analyst is going to be Colgin. Colgin obviously formerly worked with the Sentinels for a short amount of time, but now working with Cloud9, and it is so good to see this organization back. A really big W. We've got W after W, honestly, with this season because the player base is back up. We're hitting new highs that we haven't hit in a very long time for this game. All these organizations are coming back. Now we just need NRG and G2 to come back, and that would be an amazing thing to see. Also wanted to mention, these are some unfortunate bits of news, though. We do have some cheaters that have now been exposed in the Apex Legends esports scene. So I saw this originally when his Watson had retweeted it, but Fluxan had basically came out to say Lou and Rogue just got me banned because I killed him in ranked. So basically saying that all these pros tweeted out at Hideouts saying that it was Hideouts' fault and it was these pros' fault for reporting him even though he did nothing wrong. Well, after this happens, his Watson comes out to say, well, contrary to popular belief, your favorite streamer does not have the power to ban whoever they think is cheating. The only thing that they have is priority for requesting manual checks. And if you were manually checked and banned, that's not the streamer's fault. Side note, if you were to ask anyone for help, it would be Lou and Rogue, not Hideouts. Hideouts is probably the one who actually banned you. And I do want to say there are very much so instances where there are false bans. Let's not just completely throw that out the window. False bans do happen. However, it's now been known that this guy is not and has not been falsely banned. This was Anonymous Boy on Twitter who actually showed this, exposing tier 2 comp player for playing and getting boosted by cheaters. A full-blown Discord call, and I love this. If you guys don't know the context, this Anonymous Boy guy is someone who is actually, I guess, in these cheater Discords, and he goes in their Discords, plays as a nice guy, whatever, makes friendships, then exposes them once they've let their guard down. So he's done exactly that, and we've now seen that Flux has not only been playing with cheaters, he's given his number to these cheaters. He's been collaborating with them for quite some time, and this was a respected guy quite a bit, by the way, in the scene. I mean, seriously, followed by hundreds of mutuals. Peak number 7, Pred, played with a couple of good teams inside of Challenger Circuit and such. Unfortunate stuff to see this news coming out, but he has been now exposed, and How also saying, well, it looks like I was right the entire time. This guy was a cheater. Rain also saying that the way I started to gain respect for this guy. It's absolutely shameless. So unfortunate stuff, but I guess at the end of the day, there's always rats and always cheaters hiding in the shadows. Also wanted to mention Reps coming out, and this has really been a widespread issue we've been seeing for Apex Legends esports, or esports in general. Reps saying there needs to be a study on playing Apex for 5+ years and causing permanent brain damage. Monsoon came out to say, I was talking to Phony and Kim about this, and does anyone feel like it's an immediate 50% life force drain as soon as you sit down at your computer? Because geez, it's felt like 90% at times too, where you just sit down and all of a sudden you hate the game, you hate doing what you do, you hate to do any of this. It's just not fun anymore. And it's true, it has become a job. Even for me, it started as a passion. I love YouTube, I love making all these videos, and it got really well, but then it became so much of a job. I had to take a step back. I had to reevaluate my life. I had to really feel like, do I really want to enjoy this and do this, or is it just too much of a job and I want to step away? And so when I got some help, it finally relieved some stress, and now I genuinely love what I do. I love making these videos. I love the Apex esports scene, and you know, I get less views than what I used to back in the day, but I'm happy at the end of the day. So it just is what it is. So unfortunate stuff for these guys, and I hope they can get it figured out, and I hope everybody can be enjoying the game that they once loved at some point in time. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below about all these updates and Cloud9 being back in the scene, baby. It was so good to see TSM also climbing their way out of their issues as of late. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.